Hey folks, Plastic Eric here, Plastic Soundwave Cult, here for another amazing edition of Collection Connection. The game is just an excuse to talk about music. It's a game I play with my brother Bryce over at Good Show Ponsonby. Every Tuesday, or every other Tuesday, I will do a video about a record in my CDs, cassettes, or albums. And Bryce will come along the following Tuesday and he will make a connection to said album. And then we will talk about that album. And the albums will be connected in some way, and we don't tell you what the connection is. And hopefully you can figure it out and put it down in the comments down below. And so Bryce, in his last video, talked about the connection between Ben Folds 5, Whatever and Ever Amen, and Satanic Panic in the Attic by Of Montreal. And the connection between those two albums is both of the band names are misnomers. There's not 5 guys in the Ben Folds band, there was only 3. And Of Montreal is not from Montreal. I believe he's from possibly the Georgia area, Athens, Georgia. But apparently he dated a girl from Montreal, and so it had to do with the phrase, don't date girls of Montreal or whatever, or girls of Montreal. So that was the connection. It was answered correctly by Murdock from Murdock's Music Minute. Right now he's got a great video about Mike Oldfield, and I think you should check it out. I don't know that much about Mike Oldfield, but he apparently knows quite a bit. And I've been finding it interesting to learn about Mike Oldfield from him. So if you get a chance, check down in the description, check out the link to Murdock's Music Minute, and check out that Mike Oldfield video. It's really good. And so the last album that Bryce showed was Satanic Panic in the Attic by Of Montreal. Love the name of that album. Great artwork on it too. I remember the Satanic Panic back in the 80s and the late 70s. And yeah, it seemed to be like a kind of thing that a lot of people who had nothing better to fucking do than to tell people what to think, you know, it was crazy. But let's get off of that and go into the music of Montreal. And on this album, there were some great songs on there. Disconnect the Dots was a good song. A nice poppy tune that sounded a lot like certain parts of it made me think of the OCs. And I realized that at this point they were kind of still in their 60s psychedelic phase, and you can hear a lot of that. They just pop it up a bit more. And this song really does encapsulate that mood excellently. And many of the other songs that I listen to, I wonder if they influenced bands like the OCs. Some of the songs to me sound like King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard, and some of the songs sound to me like a band that my daughter really likes called Mother Mother. And I wonder how much these other bands were influenced by the band Of Montreal. Almost forgot that there for a second, but I remembered. Yeah, and so I thought overall it sounded pretty good. I'd have to give it a few more listens to really get to where I know everything about it, you know, and can kind of recognize the songs when they come up. Of course, again, as I've talked about before, my memory's not so great. You hear this, I listened to this one about 3 times. I really enjoyed listening to it. I listened to it once here, and then I listened to it a couple of times while walking my dog Benny. And so with that, I did find an interesting connection with this album and the album that I'm going to talk about. Let's figure out what it is. And so the album that I wanted to talk about today was an album that didn't take long for me to connect to of Montreal once I started finding out about the history of that album and, you know, learn about the songs, where some of the ideas came from, the history of the band, so on and so forth. And the connection I came up with, Crash Test Dummies. God Shuffled His Feet. I don't know how popular this was. I know was a popular song for a little bit, but not for too long, because people, this guy here, what's his name? Brad Roberts is like, has a really bass tone vocal. I'm not sure what it, I know there's tenor, soprano, falsetto, that kind of thing. I forgot what the low voice is. And he's got a low voice. But it works for me. I get a lot of people don't like bands for the vocalists, you know. I know plenty of people who like heavy metal, hate Cookie Monster vocals. I know that people like the music of Rush, hate Geddy Lee's vocals. This band kind of falls in that same sphere. People just can't stand the guy's vocals. Again, I can totally live with it. I think it matches the music pretty well. He does a good job in My other song that I like on here is I Think I'll Disappear Now. Fantastic song. And it has a really nice build to it where as it goes along, it just gets, it's a crescendo that gets smoother. Like, it's kind of a herky-jerky song, and then as it gets to the end, everything flows together really smoothly. And I really dig that. And I like most of the songs on here. I can't think of any that I can't stand to listen to or anything like that. Though, again, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people out there could not stand to listen to this album. And so it's one of those ones, I don't know how many views I'll get on this video, but as soon as people see the Crash Test Dummies on here, I'm sure that they're gonna figure it out pretty quick. That, yeah, not interested in this one. But if you do like these guys, leave a comment down below. What do you think the connection is between this and the Satanic Panic in the Attic by Of Montreal? I'll give you a little bit of a hint. And so I forgot to do this part at the beginning because I got sidetracked a little bit. But to give you a little bit of a clue, I would really like to do this album by Bow Wow Wow as the connection, but I don't own it. So the rule is you have to have it in your collection, and I don't have that particular album. But I have been fascinated by it just for the simple fact that it does have to do with the connection that I'm showing here. And so hopefully that helps you out with the connection between Crash Test Dummies, God Shuffled His Feet. Here's Brad Roberts as Bacchus. And hopefully you can figure out